dun, 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 dun. Welcome everybody to Hexbots Hexbug Battlebots, the New Blood Tournament of 2026. Last year's champion Agrawubba faced against Komodo Dragon in the final and took the victory. And then several years ago was Aquatic Disaster giving the win from Demo Derby. But now we got 17 robots on this list, ready to duke it out to see who was worthy of Series 4. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. And here is our first match, a little play-in to face one of the other robots. To start, in the blue square, we've got from Titusville, Florida. Sorry if I said that incorrectly. We have Kraken, fellow competitors from Hexbots Hunters 2. It's got an articulated spinner. However, it's a pretty unique weapon. However, it's easily lifted. Hopefully that will come up against, in the red square from Oakland, California, being Gravestone, a fellow competitor from MaxBot Wars. It's got a lifter. It doesn't really lift very well. That's kind of its only downside. Well, with that out of the way, let's get stuck into this fight. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. The start of the 2026 New Blood Tournament begins. We've got Kraken against Gravestone. Gravestone getting a good lift in to start the fight and almost lifting itself over and failing miserably to lift Kraken. Kraken with their spinner. We did see them last year in Hexbots Hunters 2. Another great lift by Gravestone, and Kraken coming down with that spinner. However, not much is being dealt by either robot, which is kind of unfortunate. Kraken hammering down with the spinner, trying to take off the wedge of Gravestone. Gravestone from MaxBot Wars, so if you're seeing this, welcome to the sport. Yeah, Gravestone, their bucket is a bit loose. Can they get that free? Well, they're able to push back Kraken, and yes, I believe they do. Okay, so Kraken so far doing good with aggression and control, or no, not control, damage. But it's mainly been Gravestone who's been on the offensive. As I say, he just gets stuck on the non-existent screws. Anyways, Kraken comes down with the spinner. Gravestone, it looks like one of their tracks has been dislodged. What is it with these rusty chassis always losing their hope to the tracks? And something just broke off of Gravestone's thing. I don't even know what that is. I think it's a bucket. I'm being stupid right now. Anyways, Kraken gets a nice bite onto the arm of Gravestone. And Gravestone is now trying to reset their bucket lifter, even though it's not doing to a good extent, as their drive pod has been dislodged. They're going around in circles like a maniac. Their bucket can't do anything as it just slaps on the floor. And it's not really getting a good grapple on Kraken to even lift them. That is if they can even lift. And Kraken turning around and missing a bite. If it goes to a judge's decision, I may say Kraken takes the cake. So far now, it turns like control. Since now they're starting to win the fight, and Gravestone isn't. As Kraken being hammered in the face by Gravestone. Poor Gravestone. They were pretty good looking into this, and then ever since that drive pod gave out, it was just all she wrote. And Kraken continues to push back Gravestone onto that little thing, and they get hooked. Pause. And Gravestone, it looks like one of their pieces onto the lifter has been broken as well. Well, we are going to a judge's decision. I might say, and I just say, might say Kraken takes the cake. What a fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a judge's decision. They awarded it unanimously to the winner, Kraken. Well, that was a great first fight to start off Hexbots for the new 2026. And now we officially kick off the bracket. As from Tucson, Arizona, we have Disarray, a fellow BattleBots competitor who kind of just fell off after like several trial and a couple trials and errors. So yeah, it's got a dual disc spinner. It's pretty cool looking. However, the weapon doesn't really do much. And from Malmo, Sweden, Swedish Guard, it is a lifter robot. It was pretty much made to target horizontals like, say, like Tombstone or like Macro Burst or any other horizontal that it might face. It was made to specifically counter it. However, it doesn't really lift perfectly. And also, its driving is a bit of a mystery, to say the least. Well, if anything, let's get started with the fight. 3, 2, 1...
Let the bot battle begin. USA versus Sweden with Disarray versus Swedish Guard. Disarray pretty slow to get off of their square and they get free onto the wedge. Swedish Guard coming in with a lifter system using a beta. We want to just bring that up, and Disarray is just a recolored Witch Doctor with some cooler bits. Anyways, Disarray pushing back Swedish Guard to, well, no effect. Swedish Guard trying to use their wedge and their lifter to their advantage, but it doesn't really look like Swedish Guard nor Disarray are doing anything, although the tail is getting into the wheel of Swedish Guard, so I guess that is some damage that Disarray could do. Well, anyways, Disarray is just pushing back Swedish Guard. That wedge is up, and it's going to get a bit of an easier advantage to Disarray to cause some damage. However, that just doesn't really do much. It's just kind of just there for show, and they almost go up on the wedge, but they get free, and they also bring back down the lifter of Swedish Guard. And now they're going onto the wedge. Disarray, well, it looks like they're going to be counted out. Swedish Guard, well, I guess they're going to get a pretty easy victory to go to the second round. What a fight for Swedish Guard.
Even though suffering from electrical gremlins, Swedish Guard manages to pull through and knock back Disarray into the wedge. Now next up, from Grapevine, Texas, in the blue square, Distorted Blade. It's got an angled bar spinner. It does have a bit of some damage, but don't worry about that. It's a pretty powerful weapon. However, its only source of reliability is that back wheel. Are you people crazy? Whatever, enough of that. And next, from Silverstone, United Kingdom, in the red square, Final Lap. And a nice British racing green and a little tiny little vertical spinner. It's got some pretty good speed and some forks. However, the weapon is, of course, its biggest downgrade. But let's get on with the fight. A nice contrast between two robots. 3, 2, 1... begin.
Let the bot battle begin. Final lap and Distorted Blade up to speed. Distorted Blade just kind of just doing its own thing. Final lap just getting in some easy shots under the side. Neither of them really have a damaging weapon though. Well, I mean, oh! What a hit! Distorted Blade chucks the spoiler off of Final lap, but that's kind of rather just superficial damage. It only just kind of just damages Final Lap's ego. Final Lap, even though it has like a rather weak spinner, it's still got some good pushing power, and it's able to push around Distorted Blade, well, rather easily, because Distorted Blade only has one wheel. What are the Mad Lads doing? And a nice hit by Distorted Blade, chucking themselves as Final Lap tries to come in with a nice shot, but Distorted Blade is, well, I mean, it's Distorted Blade. It's just gonna move around aimlessly and just do absolutely nothing until its opponent hits it. I don't know if that's the main strategy with this robot, and if it's gonna be like that for the rest going into Series 4. Because if so, I'll be kind of concerned, because the big thing it's gonna lack is control. Because they're currently being controlled by Final Lap. So, I don't know what will happen. Anyways, Final Lap, pushing Distorted Blade, trying to get them out of that corner, and trying to make them face the center of the box, like, hey, you're here, time to rise and shine. Distorted Blade being pushed back into his blue square. He's not even touched the red square area, like, at all. That's just crazy. Distorted Blade, again, stuck in that corner. A nice hit by Distorted Blade. And now getting its weapon stuck into the back wall, but they get free thanks to that spinner thing. It almost kind of looks like Rex if it worked. It's like Rex if it worked. Well, sorta. Final lap coming with another nice push onto Distorted Blade, pushing him into that corner. Is that going to affect him in that fight? I don't think so, besides Distorted Blade's weapon hitting the arena wall. And it's going to give some easy control and aggression points to Final Lap. Because so far for damage, it seems to be Distorted Blade due to the spoiler and the amount of big hits that it did against Final Lap. Oh, well, if it ever goes to a judge's decision, I think I just might say it's kind of an easy one. Well, maybe, because Final Lap is doing pretty good with the control and aggression. And we are going to time, and Distorted Blade did pretty good with damage, but it's all going to come down to a judge's decision again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered another judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 1 scored the battle for Distorted Blade. Judge 3 scored the battle for Final Lap. And Judge 2 scored the battle for the winner, Final Lap. Honestly, I could see that fight going either way, but it mainly came down to Final Lap being a lot more aggressive and controlled than the more damaging Distorted Blade. Well, Final Lap is going to move on to the next round. Next, from Fairport, New York, is Toxic Drake from Robot Hell Combat Robotics. It's got a flipper, more or less like a wedge flipper. It's a pretty reliable flipper and perfect for ground game. However, the flipper, much like with Thunderstrike, its flipper is stuck in rapid fire. And in the red square from the Amazing Digital Circus is Kinger with a angled horizontal flywheel. It's pretty damaging, however, it takes forever for it to spin up. So I think by now, Toxic Drake would just already flipped Kinger over and the fight is over. But we'll have to see. 3, 2, 1, action.
Let the battle begin. Kinger up to speed. Toxic Drake immediately flips Kinger. How dare you? Well, the fight was already over before it even started. Toxic Drake. Well, I guess they're going to win the fight, and Kinger just on their head. Not going to do anything. Silent pathetic. You ever seen episode 8? It's like peak cinema. Well, whatever the hell. Toxic Drake wins. Yeah. See you for the next fight.
That fight was pretty much over before it even started. Toxic Drake moves on to the next round, as next in the blue square from Louisville, North Carolina, Carolina Reaper. In testing, this robot is pretty powerful. It's got an egg beater drum. However, the main issue with it is that the drive isn't entirely the smoothest, like a good chunk of these drivers here. And from Ginza, Japan, returning after, well, quite a while on my channel, it's Samurai. It's got a vertical disc spinner. It's not really reliable. That's kind of the problem, but it's got some decent ground game, so it at least somewhat beats Carolina Reaper with its little wedge things on the side. But I mean, obviously, these are just for show. The real action is the fight itself. So let's begin. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the battle begin. Samurai up to speed, immediately goes to the corner, and in comes the deadly drum of Carolina Reaper as it's pushed immediately onto the wedge by Samurai. And it comes Samurai, completely misses him. And now is on the wedge. Well, beautiful start by Samurai, and well, not anymore. A nice hit by Carolina Reaper as they push Samurai into the wedge, and I guess that's it. Carolina Reaper goes to the second rounded style. What a fight for this rookie, I gotta say.
Well, that was a pretty good fight. Not really destructive in any cases, because, well, Carolina Reaper only got, like, 2-ish great hits, and then, like, pushed Samurai onto the wedge. But this is why we'll extend the arena after this is done. In any cases, our next fight from Paris, France is Gargoyle, a tower vertical spinner. This should definitely be one heck of a robot. And his weapon is pretty powerful. Not really as some like icebreaker or hypershock, but you know, it's strong. Its only weakness is that it does not have any ground game. Like you see all the little slots there? Yeah, it's quite exposed. And he's facing from Elgin Air Force Base, Florida, is Afterburner. Reminds me of a certain other robot that was also in it with the same type of weapon. 3, 2, 1, active.
Let the bot battle begin. Classic horizontal versus vertical spinner in Afterburner against Gargoyle. Afterburner, the robot similar to Aquatic Disaster, against Gargoyle, the giant tower vert with the orange spinner. You're probably going to remember these guys from the next season. A big hit so far by the both. Afterburner hooking into the inside of Gargoyle. A nice hit by the both of them. And it looks like Gargoyle trying to evade that spinner on Afterburner. I mean, if I were them, I would not go weapon to weapon. Just let the weapon on both die and then continue to go on. As Afterburner moving around, Gargoyle, well, I mean, they're getting a little bit of some few shots in. Again, they're testing their waters for the new season, and so is Afterburner, with the side panels and the big spinner immediately connected to a motor, and they hook onto the back of Gargoyle. So there you go. Gargoyle, it looks like the thing on the front is kind of crooked. I don't know if that's going to play to effect. Here we go, a big hit. Oh! The weapon has been disabled on Gargoyle, and Afterburner, well, they're going to take advantage of it and go immediately into the weapon motor. This is so far a great showing by the both of them. A big hit by Afterburner. Gargoyle is just... what is going on with them? They were doing pretty good, and then their weapon just immediately died. I mean, I can't blame them. They took a huge hit by Afterburner. And now here we go, another nice hit by Afterburner. And yeah, that weapon is just completely done on Gargoyle. Afterburner going back after him. Oh, I mean, that was an okay hit. Afterburner, I'd probably say just leave Gargoyle alone and leave him to die. I think Gargoyle might be stuck. Oh, never mind, they're moving. They're moving and grooving. A little nice hit by Afterburner. Trying to continue on. Now getting stuck into Gargoyle, who's just kind of defenseless, rather. It's all offense and no defense. Because they can just easily be lifted, but, well, Afterburner isn't a freaking lifter, so I can't help you. Gargoyle, they're inching a few times. Afterburner hitting the arena, what is wrong with you? Well, I mean, we're going to get this done. So we're going to have the whole arena be redone for Season 4, so do as you must. A nice hit by Afterburner to close off the fight, too. Man, what a great fight and a straight-up massacre by Afterburner.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered another judge's decision. They awarded it unanimously to the winner, Afterburner. Well, that was a straight-up massacre. Afterburner, even though he looks quite similar to some other robot, was doing all the work, and Gargoyle, as much as its design looks cool, was absolutely manhandled in that fight. The axle for the back came loose, and his weapon is just completely done. But thankfully, he's still working now. Anyways, in the blue square from Hendersonville, Tennessee, sorry, is Macroburst. He has a tiny spinner at the back and looks similar to Maximizer from NHRO. And from Sparks, Nevada is Mantis, the first ever punching robot. That being from Eddie Incorporated and the last of the channel robots. And its weapon is pretty unique. However, it too kind of has a high ground clearance. So let's see how this fight will go. 3, 2, 1,
Let the bot battle begin. This should be a good fight. Macro Burst, the robot similar to Maximizer, and brought to you by Eddie Incorporated. Man, look at the little puncher. Look at the little puncher on Mantis. I'm sorry. It just looks so freaking cool. I'm sorry. Mantis, well, they're stuck in the corner, and Macro Burst trying to hit them, but they're having a bit of some control issues. But I mean, that's kind of fair. They're all rookies, so who really gives a damn? Macro Burst trying to aim for Mantis, but gets stuck into that screw area. I think they might be done, and Mantis, somehow, Mantis wins by doing absolutely nothing. Mantis is gonna win against Macro Burst. However, Macro Burst is, never mind, he's done. Okay, never mind, Macro Burst is done. Mantis, they go on to the second round. This is a robot you should really watch out for.
I cannot believe a stinking puncher robot wins a fight. Mantis goes on to the second round to face Final Lap. The stinking puncher literally defeats my pick to win the whole thing. Well, Mantis is going to go on to face Final Lap. Next up, from Everglades, Florida, Tailgater. It's got a vertical drum, and it is very, very fast. Like, so fast, I think it's probably on something. And then from Las Vegas, Nevada, is Demilitarized Zone. Yeah, that's all I got. 3, 2, 1... active.
Let the bot battle begin. Demilitarized Zone up to speed. And Tailgater just runs into the wall. Demilitarized Zone slowly moving. They were in Hexbots Hunters too, but I don't think they're doing well here as they did before. Well, it was nice seeing Demilitarized Zone, but I think they just themselves. That's just great. Well, I guess Tailgater, I guess, is just gonna win from just pushing Demilitarized Zone and just ending the fight. Okay, that was just kind of depressing. Well, Tailgater wins. A win's a win.
If we would redo that fight, we would. Tailgater didn't really live up to the fastest thing alive shtick that it was, but it got the job done against Demilitarized Zone. Well, next, the last fight of round 1, we have from Boise, Idaho, Metal King, a sort of Metal Sonic / Metal Overlord inspired robot with a lifter and an egg beater drum, so 2 for the price of 1, Grandma. And of course, on the red square is Kraken, but nothing special with him. But let's see how this fight goes. 3, 2, 1.
Let the bot battle begin. The final fight of round 1. We have Kraken, who won a previous fight, and Metal King immediately taking off a fork off of Kraken. Good start so far from Metal King. I did not really dictate that Egg Beater would be that powerful. I was more so into the lifter, but go off, I guess. Metal King being scooped up by Kraken. Although Kraken isn't really doing much, however. It's mainly just been Metal King doing all the work. Of course, Metal King is based around Metal Overlord from the Sonic franchise, so add that to the Sonic characters list. Metal King and Kraken ran into the wall for some reason. Honest mistake, they're just rookies. You can't really, like, say that to me about anything. Metal King up to speed, does a nice little bite onto Kraken's front. And Kraken trying to evade. It keeps getting pushed around by Metal King. Metal King trying to use their lifter, but it doesn't work, and Kraken pushing them back. And it looks like Kraken lost a tooth. Oh, where did that come from? And they lost a side panel. Well, that goes that. And that was glued on. So Metal King is pretty powerful. There goes a fork off of Kraken. So Metal King is so far doing all the work right now, and Kraken is just its miserable miserable victim. And Metal King is the bully. Get off if I pick on someone your own size, and they lift Kraken over. And there goes a tooth. And Kraken self-rights. I thought Metal King would have that in the bag. But of course, if you saw Hexbots Hunters 2 last year, you will know that's not the case for Kraken. No matter how many times they're bruised, they always get back up. Even when they've lost. And there goes another fork, and they're lifted again by Metal King. Can Metal King get Kraken out of the arena? I don't think so, because Kraken is just stuck there. While Kraken gets free, I just noticed something came off of Metal King, although I don't really think that adds too much. Metal King stuck with wrangling Kraken around as Kraken just won't die. Even if it's lost a side panel, the front forks, a couple teeth, its life, but it's still going. It's still going strong against Metal King. A big hit by Metal King by the Egg Beater drum. This is a really good fight. I'd say this is better than the one with Gargoyle and Afterburner. Metal King so far doing a good lot of the work. Kraken trying to make up for it, but I don't think it's going to happen as we're closing into a judge's decision. I think it's all she wrote, and Metal King and Kraken will go the distance.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered yet another judge's decision. They awarded it unanimously to the winner, Metal King. Well, here we are, the quarterfinals of the New Blood Tournament. Metal King takes on Toxic Drake. Final Lap takes on Mantis. Carolina Reaper against Tailgater. Sorry. But to kick things off, we have Afterburner versus Swedish Guard. Let's see how this goes. 3, 2, 1.
Let the bot battle begin! Swedish Guard saying nope to Afterburner. I heard you were made to counter horizontals. Where's that gone? Anyways, Swedish Guard managing to lift over, or lift up Afterburner, I should say. However, it's not really lifting him over. I mean, again, because the lifter is rather weak on Swedish Guard. And Afterburner looks to be pretty good so far. Although a track has been dislodged. Are you serious? So it has to spend the rest of the 3 minutes-ish just on one single-use track. That's just brilliant. I love the design on subtract robots. Thank you, Hexbug. Now, Swedish Guard now has an advantage in hoisting up Afterburner. Although, the little hinge for the plow is kind of loose. I don't know if Afterburner can take advantage of that, or if it's just going to be garbage throughout the rest of the fight. Anyway, Swedish Guard pushing back Afterburner into the back wall. Not really doing much, unfortunately. And Swedish Guard managing to somewhat grasp a hold of him. Oh, there we go. That's a decent good hold until now. Afterburner doesn't really seem to be too destructive as it was in its previous fight against Gargoyle, which it absolutely massacred. That was a nice hit though by Afterburner. Swedish Guard not really doing much. It's kind of just baiting Afterburner to hit him so he can just like partially lift him. And that's kind of the problem here because Afterburner isn't doing a whole lot, but that was a good hit onto the lifter itself. However, again, it's not doing much. Swedish Guard manages to actually get a decent hold of him, although it doesn't really lift over robots pretty easily. But it was made to counter horizontal, so don't take my word for it. Afterburner moving around, I don't think it's gonna get far. I believe it's only a matter of time until maybe the other one knocks loose or it just knocks itself dead. As it looks like, oh, there you go. Afterburner's dead. Swedish Guard, well, I guess he moves on to the semifinals. Yeah.
A good start to the quarterfinals as Afterburner just slowly died. And Swedish Guard now takes his spot into the semifinals. We now next up have Final Lap going up against Mantis. This will be a pretty great fight because, well, Final Lap is definitely known for being in control. And so far it looks like Eddie Incorporated's machine is so far the underdog going into this. So let's see how this goes. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. Both robots fast out of the gate. Final lap loses forks. That's just cool. Mantis up on the wedge. Can they get free? They're trying, and they do so. And they bounce back with the puncher. I'm sorry. Just the puncher, it's very cool. Like, we've never seen a Hexbug puncher besides Icebreaker's Tantrum, but that doesn't entirely count. Anyways, final lap, just moving around aimlessly. Mantis trying to regain its balance as they fire the puncher. I'm sorry, I really love the puncher on Mantis, but is it doing anything in that fight? That's the question. In my simple answer, the law requires that I answer no, unfortunately. As final lap, push Mantis back into that corner, but they get free. Mantis going back with the puncher onto the wheels. It's the puncher of doom. It looks like it's just slightly grazing the side of final lap, though. As final lap tries to get away, Mantis just kind of just chilling with final lap, as final lap almost goes on the wedge. And they get pushed back by Mantis. That's good maneuverability there by Mantis and some control, and they release final lap. Is final lap doing work? Not by the looks of this. They're on the wedge. Can they get free? They do. Mantis go after them, but they're on the wedge. What are they doing? And final lap is free. Final lap is gonna win the fight. Mantis, you had everything, man. You had everything, and you failed. Well, back to the drawing board for them. Final lap goes to the semi-finals. How unfortunate for Mantis just flaring the puncher. I now have clinical depression because Mantis is done. Final lap, however, goes on to the semifinals. We'll probably see Mantis in their heat battle later this year. As for the next round, we've got Carolina Reaper against Tailgater. What they lack somewhat in control and speed, they make up for their firepower. But whose firepower is more devastating? And who will go to the semifinals to face Swedish Guard? Well, let's find out. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. 2 vertical spinners that are different types. A double disc spinner in Tailgater and the egg beater drum of Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper doing a nice job of pushing Tailgater onto the wedge, utilizing the arena to their advantage, much like a good chunk of the robots here. And I think Tailgater, I don't think they're going to be getting out of here. And Carolina Reaper's making sure that he doesn't escape. And, yeah, he's just making sure. Oh, Tailgater escapes the wedge. So, I don't know if Tailgater got lucky or Carolina Reaper was just not doing their job properly. Tailgater moving around, trying to do something with their double disc spinner. It won amusingly to, ooh, that was a good hit there. To demilitarize zone, and Carolina Reaper, well, just got rid of Samurai pretty quickly. And now both robots going around. Carolina Reaper is a bit slow-ish, and Tailgater's a bit faster. And that was a nice hit by Carolina Reaper, and again, onto the weapon of Tailgater, and landing a few shots, pushing up Tailgater. This is so far a pretty good fight so far for Carolina Reaper. Not entirely so much for Tailgater. I think that escape was just pure luck. Anyways, they're trying to get free from the front of Carolina Reaper. Something is on the arena. I don't really know what is, to be honest. Carolina Reaper landing some good hits onto Tailgater, almost lifting it over, but Tailgater recovers. Tailgater trying to not get into any more trouble, but they're on the wedge. Again, it's simply brilliant. And Carolina Reaper getting underneath of him again, utilizing that high ground clearance to their advantage. But can Tailgater escape the wedge again? Will luck be on his side? Or will Carolina Reaper stare him down in victory? And it's going to be B. Carolina Reaper goes on to the semifinals. This rookie is someone to watch out for. As that fight definitely happened, Carolina Reaper did definitely use their weapon to their advantage and landed some good hits onto Tailgater, eventually getting up on the wedge and, well, getting them out. Next up, we have the Ultimate Overlord being Metal King, and the only channel robot remaining, Toxic Drake. Let's see who wins this. This will be a good fight, and I know it. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. Metal King up to speed. Toxic Drake gets a hold and flips Metal King out of the arena. Well, that was fast.
That fight was so quick I didn't even process it. We're now on to the semifinals. 2 robots will win it, and they will go to the final round. And then 2 more who lose will go to a third place battle. I don't really know. I think we're running out of time here. So to start, we've got Toxic Drake against Final Lap, and then Carolina Reaper against Swedish Guard. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the bot battle begin. Final Lap up to speed. Toxic Drake immediately gets out of its square, and it flips Final Lap. Cool. Oh, and Final Lap is out of the arena. Well, that's 2 fast knockouts in a row from Toxic Drake. He's definitely a champion, all right. Another spectacular performance by Toxic Drake as they move to the championship round and Final Lap to the third place battle. Next up, who will face Toxic Drake in the championship? Will it be Carolina Reaper of the United States of America? Or will it be Swedish Guard of, well, Sweden? Let's begin. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. Carolina Reaper up to speed, and Swedish Guard almost lifting Carolina Reaper, but they just couldn't. Carolina Reaper rather slow to get out of their square, must be said, and Swedish Guard is just stuck there, and Carolina Reaper tries to take advantage. And, Swedish Guard with a nice near miss there. Carolina Reaper trying to get a hold of him and maybe try and take the weapon down, maybe, or just, like, win. I don't know how Carolina Reaper is going to win against Swedish Guard, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of built like a brick, but the only way I could see it winning is if Swedish Guard just, like, dies all of a sudden. That's my theory. That's just a theory. A Hexbots theory. That's so good line. Anyways, Carolina Reaper thought they stopped for a moment, and Swedish Guard didn't really get a chance to take advantage of it. And now Carolina Reaper has that egg beater drum up to speed. Does it get a good hit? It's, no, not really. It's pushing back Swedish Guard, though, so that's at least a thing. Can Swedish Guard make up for everything? It gets up and over Carolina Reaper, but is stuck on the wedge. And I don't think Swedish Guard can get off of there. I think this is going to be a win for Carolina Reaper once again. Well, Carolina Reaper goes to the finals. So, this is it. The final. In the blue square, Toxic Drake. And in the red square, Carolina Reaper. Both of these robots were very impressive to make it their run to the championship, but only one could make it. Will it be the competitor from Robot Hell Combat Robotics, or the fiery crimson robot with the egg beater drum? Let's find out in the 2026 New Blood Tournament Championship Battle. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the championship begin. Toxic Drake getting underneath of Carolina Reaper to no avail. Carolina Reaper now up to speed and now hitting the front of Toxic Drake. Sorry. Toxic Drake with the flipping thing. I'm losing my sanity right now. Toxic Drake. God damn it. Carolina Reaper with the egg beater drum aiming for the sides and, well, not really anything with that golden yellow egg beater drum. Both have fought pretty well to get in this spot. Carolina Reaper mostly relying on the wedge, and Toxic Drake flipping their opponents in, well, less than a minute. Although, a minute is about to pass by right now, and Toxic Drake haven't done much to Carolina Reaper, so I guess the joke's on them. Sorry. Carolina Reaper still getting up to speed, and pushing around Toxic Drake. So far, this is looking pretty good so far. Toxic Drake, well, not really getting a good flip, but they're still trying, and Carolina Reaper still having that egg beater continuously get up to speed. Toxic Drake needs to get to the sides or the back of Carolina Reaper, but Carolina Reaper is not letting that happen. And that's what we've been saying before. Staying nice in control and aggressive onto Toxic Drake. If anything, Carolina Reaper somewhat seems to be winning this fight. I mean, unless Toxic Drake gets a good lift, then it could favor them if it goes to a judge's decision. As Toxic Drake tries to get their flipper in place, and Carolina Reaper continuing to attack the sides of Toxic Drake as they're on the wedge. And they get free thanks to Carolina Reaper. I don't know what they're thinking. And now back into the cool. Oh, they're stuck. Oh, we're gonna go get an unstick, and the unstick has been made. Carolina Reaper gets back up to speed. Can Toxic Drake take advantage? They almost got to the sides of Carolina Reaper, but they exposed their own, and Carolina Reaper there to capitalize. This is a good fight so far. Toxic Drake, they haven't done a lot. They've mainly just been controlled around the whole arena. Something has to happen in order for the fight to change and go to Toxic Drake's favor. But so far, it's not really looking so great into Toxic Drake so far in this fight. I think Carolina Reaper might be positive enough to get the championship victory if, I'm saying if, something were to happen. The Toxic Drake almost took advantage of Carolina Reaper exposing their back. And they're stuck again. Well, I mean, they tried. We're going to go to a judge's decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered another judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 1 scored the battle for Carolina Reaper. Judge 2 scored the battle for Toxic Drake. And Judge 3 scored the battle for the winner, and the winner of the 2026 New Blood Tournament Special is Toxic Drake. You know, if I had a nickel every single time we had one of these New Blood Tournament specials, and then the champion was a YouTuber robot, I have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times, right? Congratulations to Toxic Drake for becoming the 3rd New Blood Tournament champion. And we'll hope to see you in Series 4 of Hexbots Hexbug Battlebots. And yeah, congratulations to Robot Hell Combat Robotics and their robot Toxic Drake for winning the championship, as we'll see them in a later heat. And congratulations also to Carolina Reaper. Well, we'll see you in Series 4 coming up in May.